Brady asking if you guys think that Lathan Ransom will be ready for Notre Dame.
Ryan Day said they're going to ease him into camp, but he will eventually be full go. So I think right now, the expectation is that he will be ready for Notre Dame, but they don't necessarily know which position that'll be, whether it be strong safety or free safety. Day said he's working both of those, not working at nickel. So they've got to figure out what he can do in this defense because they have no idea. He's been out. He's just now getting running around for in terms of scheme wise. And once camp gets underway, then they'll figure out what he can do. And so, yeah, I think the plan is for him to be ready for Notre Dame, but that's probably a special teams and a backup situation because they know their starters for the most part. And I don't know that they really know exactly where Lathan Ransom is going to play yet. They may need him at free safety so that you don't have a true freshman Kai Stokes as the backup. But they also really like Kai Stokes, so maybe that's not a concern.
Yeah, the Ransom update was very good to hear that he's close. May not do 11-on-11 team right at the beginning, but maybe after a week or so would mix in there. There were a few other injury updates. The linebacker Mitchell Melton, who he'd also repped, I guess, a little bit at defensive end in the spring and was starting to show some stuff. He suffered, I think, a knee injury during the spring, and it doesn't sound like he'll be able to play this year because of that. But other than him, Ryan Day was very bullish on the idea that almost everybody else is ready to go. That includes Josh Proctor, although he came back a little bit and repped 11-on-11 in the spring, was even in the spring game for a few plays. So that was good that Josh Proctor is back in the fold at safety. And I think either he or Court Williams may start at the third safety position, however they work that out. Beyond those guys, Tyler Friday, a defensive lineman, you guys can correct my math. Did he miss all of last season due to injury?
Yeah, he was shut down like in fall
camp or
something. It was
defensive end for him, I think. Is that where he lines up? So he can only add to what they hope is a good defensive end group with Zach Harrison and JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer and everybody else there at defensive end. I think that's only good, especially since Potter transferred away, and Potter was looking kind of promising, I thought, in the spring, but he's gone. So I took that as good news that Friday, a veteran, will be back. Beyond that, Josh Fryer, who's probably their number 6 offensive lineman, and would you guys say probably their next guy up at tackle is going to be back for the start of preseason camp, it sounds like. I asked a pointed question about the offensive line yesterday to Coach Day, and he was like, yeah, we got to build depth, and we really like our starting 5, and 2 new starters there, and Paris Johnson, a returning starter, moving from guard to tackle. So there are some moving pieces and parts there, but so we'll see how it all comes together. But those were some of the newsy items that I thought came out of this. I can't think a whole lot about position changes, or you guys were listening to the same stuff I was listening to. Maybe something tripped your cord a little better than what I had on some of those.
I was going to say, no, nothing really newsy. I mean, that Ryan Day doesn't like to talk about injuries. Don't ask him about who's flashing for the the young guys, because if I forget somebody, I'm going to hear from their parents. I'm not going to want to deal with that. So we're
about to give him a blanket admonition that you can name names anytime you want, and nobody gives a crap if you left somebody out and you upset somebody's parents. Nobody cares. We need names.
Well, not in the era of the transfer portal. If you forget a name, they're out. They leave.
They're out. I mean,
you can't even speak names now.
If they go to unlimited transfers or whatever, and Ryan Day did speak about that and said that he hadn't really had any conversations with Gene or anything concrete, but would like to kind of see some guardrails in place there. Maybe a 2-year commitment, which would certainly limit some of this, jumping and hopping that we could potentially see. I mean, once again, the NC2A, well, we have this issue. You know what would be best for it? less regulation, because then it's not on us to really have to worry about this. So we're seeing the overcorrection that isn't helping anybody at this point. But
Kevin,